Welcome everybody to a community celebration that honors my mother, our Sigma Gamma Rho sorority sister, our friend, our family member, our loved one, Theresa B. Gartin Leeke's 65th Sigmaversary. Her actual date of crossing into Sigma land is April the 26th. But because it's 22, April the 22nd, I figured this would be a good day to do it. I just didn't know that there were so many events in Sigma land happening today. So we're going to start with just trying to get us grounded. I know folks are coming in, and as they come in and as I let them in, me and my slides, if you could mute yourself if you're just starting with us. All right. And if you don't, I will mute you. Okay, so tonight we're celebrating Theresa. And we're going to start with a mindful moment just so that we all get grounded. That's really just an opportunity for us to slow down, breathe. Many of us have had busy days. Maybe the last 30 minutes have been busy. And then we're going to move into hearing some of Theresa's own words. And then we'll have a gratitude meditation. And then I have two short poems I want to read. And then we'll just move into community sharing. Whoever wants to share is welcome to share. And then we'll end with how you can honor my mom's legacy and a general thank you. And you're looking at pictures. This first picture is when she crossed on April 26, 1959 with her line sisters. And then this picture here, the second picture is of Soror Reverend Mary Oliver, who was the Basilisk of Phi Sigma chapter in the 1970s when my family moved here. And my mother really was mentored by Soror Reverend Mary. And then the bottom picture is a picture of the chapter that she was a member of in Washington, D.C., Phi Sigma chapter. So I'm still letting sorors in. And if you're just joining us, get ready for a mindful moment. I know I need it. All right. One of my mom's favorite scriptures was Philippians 4:13. And those of you who may know her spiritual vastness may have heard her say this or refer you to it. So right where you are, I want to encourage you to, if it feels good to close the eyes, go ahead and close the eyes. If you want to keep your eyes open, just lower your gaze slightly. And then taking a moment to notice how the feet feel, whether they're resting on the floor, the bed, the couch, a rug. And then remembering that our feet are resting on sacred ground of indigenous people. Many of us have that blood running through our veins. So opening your heart and giving thanks for the indigenous people who have made it possible for us to be here, to live, to learn, to love, to serve, to share our gifts. If you're just joining us, you have zoomed into the mindful moment. We're just getting started. Take a moment to get settled. Bring one hand to the heart if that feels good and one hand to the belly. Noticing the heartbeat. Noticing how the belly feels, not judging the size of the belly or what's happening with the belly, just noticing that it's there. And then joining me and taking a big breath in and then letting it out. Taking one more big breath in and then exhaling. One more big breath in. And then letting it out. And so allowing yourself just to be right here in this moment, opening the heart up, extending gratitude for all of our African ancestors that made it possible for us to be here today. And then if you can, extending that gratitude to all of the other people that have made contributions to this land, the Latino people, the Asian people, the European people. And if you're just joining in, extending the gratitude to our indigenous people. And then taking one more big breath in, letting it out. And then thanking yourself for showing up tonight to co-create this community celebration that honors Theresa, woman, ancestor, spirit, sister, wife, mother, soror, friend, neighbor, mentor, leader, and so much more. So just taking a moment to notice how you're feeling. And so one of the things that I always encouraged my mom to do was to share her stories. And she didn't always do that. And I had to push her to do the podcast series that we did. And I'm so grateful that she agreed. But back in 2015, she and Barbara Sawyer, Soror Barbara Sawyer, were invited by the Atlantic Journal, the Atlanta, I can't remember, it's AGC, I know they're by their abbreviation. They were invited to share their stories with the newspaper audience. And what you're looking at are some of my mom's words that were shared in that that interview. And so one of the things that you'll see, I'm not going to read it all, but I wanted to share it with you so you could see it. One of the things that my mother was famous for sharing was a story about how she met Hattie Redford and Dorothy Whiteside, our founders, Sorors Whiteside and Soror Redford. And it was in 1958 out of Rush at Butler University. And before that, her mother, Dorothy Mae Johnson Gartin, actually introduced her to them while they were downtown shopping. And my grandmother, Dorothy, knew Soror Whiteside and Soror Redford because they were her teachers when she was a little girl. And Indianapolis, like many places, is a very small Black community. You can imagine back in the 50s, and everybody knew everybody. And so having these two women be brought to her attention by her mother, who was a very strong force, let me just say that. And when Dorothy Mae said, do something, you did it. And Mommy told me that she really didn't know what the sorority was all about, but she was going because these two women had made an impression on her. And during that rush, she, the very things that she lived in her life and in her service, no matter what community that she was serving, came from some of those experiences that she had. And I love the last line of what she said. She says, they left their Sigma footprint on me in a big way. And now I try to do the same with younger sorors or sisters. And in the last 9 months, and even before then, stories that I've heard from all kinds of people from all parts of her life have shown me that she's always wanted to invest in sharing her experiences and helping someone else along. And so you coming here tonight is just another way of us celebrating her legacy and you sharing later on how she made an impact and continues to make an impact in your life. And I just want to point out the photos here. The woman at the top is Soror Hattie Redford, one of our founders, Soror Dorothy Whiteside. The woman that is with my mom in this picture is Soror Reverend Mary Oliver. She was a Bacillus of Phi Sigma chapter in DC and a very big influence on my mom when we first moved here in the 70s. And then below is Shanae, a sister, Shanae Manning, a woman that my mother adopted through her mother, Marlene, Soror Marlene, and Shanae and my mother's photo represents my mom giving back to younger sorors. So with that, I want to lead us in a gratitude meditation for my mom. And I want to say that this is an opportunity for you to share silently in community with all of us your gratitude for her and how she's touched your life and she continues to touch your life as she serves as a loving, wise, and well ancestor. So right where you are, inviting you to close the eyes if it feels good. If you want to keep the eyes open, just lowering the gaze just slightly and allowing the body just to relax. There's no need to try to sit a certain way. The meditation police are on vacation. And just noticing your breath, becoming aware of the breath, slowly breathing in and out naturally. And then joining me in taking some deep breaths in, and I'll guide us. So big breath in through the nose, and then out through the mouth. Another big breath in, hold the breath, and as you release it, tune into the sound of the breath. One more breath in, and then out. Now allowing your breath to return to its normal pace. And just noticing the sounds from where you're located. Just paying attention to the sounds. Not trying to do anything about those sounds, just noticing them. And then shifting your attention to the thoughts in the mind. Not pushing the thoughts away, just noticing them. And remembering that meditation is this practice of befriending the mind. Just noticing, observing what's happening. And so as we move into tonight's gratitude meditation for Theresa, if you lose focus, that's okay. It's normal, it's natural, it's a part of being human. So when you lose focus, just take a big breath in and then out. And allow yourself to come back to the present moment, leaning in on the breath as an anchor. So bringing your hands to your heart if that feels comfortable. Noticing the heartbeat. And then giving thanks for that heartbeat. And then taking a moment to open up your heart to the presence and the love of Theresa. She's always with us. Maybe bringing to mind a memory of her. And then taking a moment to open up the heart for the gratitude for how she touched your life. If you're just joining us, we're settled into a meditation of gratitude for my mom. So take a moment just to get settled. Connect with your breath. Bring one hand or both hands to your heart. Notice your heartbeat. And then bring to mind a memory of my mom. And open the heart to gratitude for how she may have impacted your life. Taking a big breath in with me through the nose. And then out through the mouth. Giving yourself a nice, gentle hug. And let's all just send each other love as we spend this moment sending gratitude for ourselves, for Theresa, for all that she has given us and continues to give us as a loving, wise, and well ancestor. Taking one more big breath in and then out. So tonight I have two short poems that I'm going to read from a book that my mother made me write. She had me for many years saying, Puffy, put all your poetry in one book. And I would be at her beach house talking about all kind of other things and eating up her crabs. And she would constantly say, when are you going to put the poetry in one book? Well, finally that happened in 2009. So this poem that I'm reading is called My Mother, Theresa B. Gartin Leeke. My mother's spirit, love, support, creativity, and friendship dazzle me like autumn leaves fluttering in a November breeze. She is golden yellow amber with hints of lemon citron. Every time I hear her speak, I know her truth is delivered clearly and authentically. There is no hesitation in her choices. She moves from her center. She teaches by example. She leads collaboratively. She serves selflessly. That's why she is a doyen of her church and sorority communities. Mommy is a Scorpio woman with passionate fire. At times, I fear her only because she is my mother. And I think that's what mothers do sometimes, just to make sure their children are protected from harm's way. She holds within her lifetimes of wisdom. She taught me to define who I am by my own standards. She gave me a blueprint for establishing priorities to support the care of my spirit, mind, and body, nurturing my commitment to relationships with family and friends, expressing my creativity with authenticity, pursuing my calling to share my gifts by serving various communities, and choosing career opportunities that address my needs holistically. When things get tough, she has given me the gift of prayer and music to move myself forward. Her dedication to being the best inspires me to do the same in my life. Yes, my mother's total being dazzles me like autumn leaves fluttering in a November breeze. A jewel reflecting golden yellow amber with hints of lemon citron. Mommy is everything. Yes, everything to me. And the best thing about that poem is that I was able to read that to her and about her many times. And so this last poem is I Am My Sister's Keeper, and it's my version of it. I mean, my sorors know that we have a similar poem that we share. I am my sister's keeper. She keeps me as I keep her. Sister soothes me, consoles and comforts me in my time of need. Sister laughs with me, shouts with me, cries with me, prays, heals, and befriends me as only a sister can. Sister never leaves me. Wherever I go, she goes. Wherever I stay, she stays. Sister loves me, loves me, loves me. Sister knows me, knows me, knows me. Sister keeps me, keeps me, keeps me. I am my sister's keeper. She keeps me as I keep her. Together, we love, know, and keep each other as Ruth kept Naomi, connected by Creator's love. So this is the part that I've been waiting for. It is community share time. So who wants to share how Theresa B. Gartin Leeke stepped into their lives and made an impact of some sort? It's open.
I would. Thelma Johnson, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go
Okay.
ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead, lady with the crown, culture pearl.
Well, I met Soror Theresa Leeke when I joined Phi Sigma chapter many years ago. Later, after I joined Phi Sigma, Soror Leeke became bacillus of Phi Sigma chapter, and I was one of the chapter financial officers for several years, working closely with her. I remember our conversations. She was so proud to have joined Sigma Gamma Rho while attending Butler University in Indianapolis, Indiana. She often shared her stories about her contacts with the founders and experiences with our founders many years after they were no longer officers with Sigma Gamma Rho. It was a pleasure to have been her friend and her soror, and I think of her often. She was a very, very good friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Soror Thelma. Ramunda wants to say something. She put her hand up. I see you, G. I got you, Garland.
I do, and some on the phone probably have heard this story before, but I tell it, especially to new members all the time. I was fortunate to have someone call me their Sigma daughter, and that was Sandra Mitchell, who of course was a great friend to Soror Leeke, and I was fortunate to be elected into the office of undergraduate chapter coordinator within the northeastern region of our beloved Sigma Gamma Rho. And I used to get these. Now, this is before the internet was really popping, y'all. We didn't have Facebook and all of that. I used to get notes and calls from Soror Leeke. She would just give me that two-finger tap about something that I hadn't quite done up to standard. And I would go to Soror Mitchell and I would say, why doesn't she like me? What did I do? I don't know why she doesn't like me. And it was I was still UCC at the time, and I had the opportunity to sit down with your mom, with your wife, and with our soror, and she was like, "I don't dislike you. I want to help you," and she did. Everything she ever told me was something I needed to hear. Those two-finger taps, and I do mean she would call, she would write a note. Yes, ma'am. And she would set me straight, but in her way. It was never mean, but I was just like, I can't do anything right. This woman is always on me, but she was just trying to make sure I maintained a standard. And obviously, even after I left the office, she was always there to keep me straight and make sure I did what the founders would have wanted us to do and maintained a true sisterhood. Um, I felt like I knew her. I felt like I was her daughter. But I hear the stories and I know that I'm not the only one. And I'm just proud to have been in the number of one of the ones that she cared to take the time to give that tap to and try to keep going in the right direction and doing the right thing. And I so appreciate her. And I so appreciate you passing some of her things to me, Soror Leeke. Um, I'm cherishing those and nobody's getting those. Those are mine. But I so appreciate having gotten to know her, and hopefully I will make her proud.
All right, Garland.
Hey, good evening, all. I'm Garland Parker, Jones Parker. I met Theresa when I was 19 years old at the University of Maryland. She came on our campus and just ignited a Sigma fire under me and my 8 line sisters that were on the charter line at University of Maryland College Park, which is now Eta Beta chapter. I met her, I became a GAMAT. We did fundraisers, she guided us. in a way that wasn't dictatorial. It just helped us in our young minds gather, become organized, and do things the Sigma way. Although we didn't know we were being guided and led and taught, that's what she did. So she took us nine, the nine fine foxes, as we were called, and we became her children, her part of her family. We were raised with her kids. I mean, Puff and I, we known her most of her life, and T has known me since I was 19. So I too think of her often. She gave me so much and taught me a lot of things about how to be a woman, how to be a mother, how to be a soror. Just never in a sit down teacher kind of mode. It was just in a talking, discussing, relating type of mode. I went to her Kwanzaa parties at her house. Went to the beach house. Just missed so much of T. She also gave me some items too, like the Soror said before me. They're only going to be for me, but she also gave me some things that she asked me to share with others. So we are in the process now of having our Sigma swaps. We've had 19 young ladies come into our chapter. We had a swap where they came and were able to get items because, you know, they don't have anything really, a lot of blue and gold. And they had a tremendous, tremendous turnout. And I've asked them to also send some pictures to our website. But T was always giving. So she gave so much. I still don't know how she had so much stuff still. She had a lot of clothes, but she gave stuff. She gave. When she shopped well. She bought both colors. She bought everything. She had at least one of everything. And I know whatever she shopped, she also probably bought Puff too. So
Yes.
so she was always giving. And I know there's a lot of people that always have said, Theresa Leeke gave me this and gave me that and gave me this and gave me that, in addition to her words of wisdom. Now, she would give you words of wisdom, and she also taught me the importance of knowing your bylaws. Know your bylaws and know the financial person, and you will do well. She led Phi Sigma several times. She was a basilisk several times. She started a Yellow Tea Rose Foundation in Phi Sigma in DC, our nonprofit. So she has just done so much for our chapter and still is. There's so many people who've known her, who could speak good things of her. And I hope we can hear them this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Garland. I appreciate it. I want to invite our former Grand Basilisk, Soror Benita Herring, to share some words if she's open to it. Kind of put you
I
up.
am. Good evening, everyone. I think this is Soror Leeke, it's so great for you to even do this. I think it's definitely keeping the memory, your mom's memory alive, and just, you know, celebrating everything that she does or did, but it's like you keep it going. But I just wanted to share just a couple of things. One, I would say that Soror Theresa Leeke was always about excellence. And she, you know, those things that we, you know, heard from her sometimes when she didn't see that, she would definitely speak out and she would let you know. And so I appreciate her for that, because I started, I think my first real interaction with her was when I was working at the headquarters. So that was very important to know what her thoughts were, and she would share them because, you know, she held various offices. And so during the years or through the years, when I decided to run for Grand Basilisk, one of the things I did was to reach out to Sandra Mitchell, Theresa Leeke. There were probably a few others, of course, but I had a long conversation with them because I think they talked very often and they were usually on the same page about things. But I even came to your home and stayed there for a night or two when I had made that decision that, yeah, I'm going to run, because I wanted to get feedback from sorors who I respect and, find out, like I said, she was about excellence. And I say is because her excellence lives after her. But she was about that excellence. She was about doing things a certain way. And I respected that. And so I did come to your home and stayed, and she opened up the home, and I was able to stay there, and I was a guest there while we had some of that discussion with sorors in the area, but definitely, with your mom and actually with your dad too, because, he was always like the person on the side that could tell Sigma about, that person that was not a member of the organization, but could see certain things that were going on. So I just appreciate her move through the organization and pushing us for excellence. That's what we always want to be as a sisterhood. We want to do things. Right now, we say greater. I say that definitely we want to move to be greater all the time. And so I appreciate everything that she did. And when she noticed things, as I said, she let us know. So I appreciate it and thank her for everything that she did and for her encouragement at times when, taking offices, moving up in the sorority sometimes has its, should I do it? I think Soror Fineville mentioned something about, that 2-finger tap. And sometimes you are like, is this person mad at me? But you find that those things make you greater and make you a better leader. So I appreciate those things. And thank you, Mom, for everything that she did in my journey.
Thank you. Thank you. Bonita's known me since. Yeah, it's a lot of
Since
people.
you were, yeah.
Yeah. Bonita, yeah. Soror Bonita. We'll leave it with that. I want to invite Linda Moore, Soror Linda Moore, to share if you are up to it.
Just thinking about Theresa. I've known her for over 40 years. I think we met at a regional or something, I don't know, but we just clicked. Theresa and Sandra Mitchell and Shirley Smith and we gradually became the 4 amigas. And we would call and just talk about Sigma. But then I would call her, or she would call me, and we would talk about personal stuff. Sigma Gamma Rho had nothing to do with anything. When I was struggling with my call to ministry, Theresa was one of the people who would pray for me and who would help me to get myself together and get grounded. She was my mentor, my friend. When I grow up, I want to be like her. I love her with all of my heart. I'm like all of you. I miss her. Sometimes Shirley and I will say, we need to call T and Sandra, and then we remember. So I just talk to her. I just know that she's an Omega Rho with God and with the founders, and with all of her loved ones. And I just cherish her. I just cherish her. So thank you, Pa, for allowing me to say something. thanks.
Of course, of course, of course. I want to invite Soror Barbara Sawyer, if you are up to it, to share.
Puff, I knew you was gonna do that.
You knew, well, come on. I mean, Beta Tall, like that. Let's not even go there. Morgan State. Got Soror Myra, you're next. Just to let you know.
Yeah, get ready, Myra. Yeah, I'm gonna start from the end and go back. You know, when you attend a conference, you always look for certain people. And Theresa was one soror that I always look for. And the last regional conference in Raleigh, Theresa was not there. And when I got back, I called her and asked her, where were you? I didn't see you. And she explained to me the reason she was not there. I said, okay, but I expected her to see her again, but that didn't happen. The call before that was when she called me, she was always concerned about young people. And it was a student that I'm gonna say a young woman that she knew that was attending Morgan State. So she called me because this young lady needed housing. And I think she was an engineering student. And so I knew who to call, which was Myra, because she was in the engineering building, and to try to get some connections to see, you know, how we could help her. And so I turned it over to Myra. But I remember just having a lot of laughter, especially at meetings. You know how us old folks, we get together, we start talking about stuff. And it's just funny, just so many laughing, funny moments. She was a very kind person, a wise, let me say soror, a wise woman, a wise soror, and always had something nice to say, was always friendly. Everything that all the other sorors have mentioned, I concur wholeheartedly, and I can still hear her voice. I've listened to the podcast, so I'm so proud of you, Puff. Well, I'm used to calling you Puff. Puff used to watch my little baby, who is now, 40? No, wait a minute. She's 37, 36. She's 36 years old. And I'll never forget, because I live right there by Morgan State, and I needed to go out one day, and I asked Puff because she babysit. She was a student at Morgan. And I don't know, I would see her at the area meetings, the regional conference way back in the 70s when I came through. The meetings were a whole lot different back then than they are now. And so I just miss her a lot. And I can hear her voice, and I'm glad that I have those podcasts to go back. I saved them, and I can go back and I can listen to them, and still hear those. I love those stories about her coming up and the experiences she had with the founders and all of that. So we go way, way back. Yeah. Glad to see you, Mr. Leeke. Good to see you again. I would always see those two together. I saw him at Centennial. He was right there. And if one was in there in the room, I said, oh, they sitting up there. They up front. He would be on his way. Oh, yeah, and thank you for doing this, Puff. Well, I've experienced your mindful matters
Yeah.
before. I had you do it with I think it was the region I had you do it with
During
a
the first
couple of years ago during pandemic, I
COVID.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first couple of weeks.
Right. And I'm glad you explained which way to breathe, because I was breathing in through my mouth, like and out. But then when you said the nose and then out through the mouth, that just made it so much better. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and
You're
I just
welcome.
love your voice. It just soothes you. I'm proud of you too, dear heart.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. So I'm gonna ask Myra Curtis, Soror Myra Curtis, if she would join us. Soror Myra Curtis pledged me.
Yes.
With Martha Allen back in
Yes.
all of 83.
You said, well, was that the year? Because I don't remember what year it was.
It was in the
Oh.
80s.
But I also pledged Barbara. See, we can use the word pledge because
Yeah.
those were the days that we
Wait a minute.
yeah,
Yes.
those were the days. And I can't remember whether I met Soror Theresa before I met you or after I met you. But all I can say is that there was a love that I had and still have for your mother. It's a respectful love. You and when she asks you to do something, you do it. No problem, no questions or anything. And yes, she contacted me about another engineering student. Now, Barbara, I don't remember the female, but I do remember this young male. And I think it was two boys, but I do remember one boy because he stuck with me his entire years while he was out working. He graduated, and I think he was a member of your church, of your mother's church. And I don't remember his name, but your mother just has a magnifying uh, personality. And the last time I saw you two together, and you have to forgive my voice, I'm getting ready. I'm losing my voice. I have a problem. But I was so glad to see the both of you all together. And that was the last bootleg. And no, yeah, because we were at the in Indianapolis, Indiana. That's where we were at Butler. And I saw you and your mother together. I was just so happy to see the both of you all there together. But and I also know because of your mother and other members of Phi Sigma, Alpha Sigma, and Phi Sigma, we were inseparable. Back in the day, we were truly inseparable at that time. So, Huff, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I will probably will talk to you to help me with some meditation
Got you. You know
as
I got
well.
you. Yeah.
Love you.
anytime. Love you too. Thank you so much. I'm gonna invite Soror Marlene Manning to share.
Good evening, everyone. I did not realize how hard this would be, which is why I've kept my camera off most of the time that we've been on. But my attachment to the entire Leeke family is extended family. I can't just call her Theresa. I can't do that because my conscience will get me. So I either have to call her Soror Leeke, or when we were in private, I used to call her Mama Leeke. I've known her since I was 19. She became the advisor while I was coming in at Bowie State. The advisor that we had to step away, so she took over. And everything of Sigma that I know because of Soror Leeke. She taught me everything I know. And she drilled the Constitution and bylaws in my head so bad, I got them confused when I was taking a history class dealing with the Constitution of the United States. I'm like, wait a minute, no, that's sorority. No, this is and that was one test that I flunked and asked to do it again. She has been a part of my life. I remember the day I got married. I really didn't think she was coming. But when I was walking down the aisle and I saw her sitting right there behind my mother, and I said, that's exactly where she needs to be, because she's been my mother in Sigma since I was 19. And I can proudly say that I am now 66 years old. She has been with me for 45 of my 46 years in Sigma. When my daughter, that Puff showed in the picture earlier, when my daughter graduated from pre-K, she said, I can't come to the graduation, but I'm gonna get her a gift. I'm like, Mom, this child is 3 years old. She is really not going to remember this graduation. She said, you make sure she remembers this graduation. And there was a tone in that, you make sure she remembers. When my son graduated from pre-K, I didn't even have time to question, because she said, you make sure he remembers. When we would come to the house that was over in Mitchellville, there was a candy dish that used to sit on top of the piano. My kids would come in the front door, they would say hi, they would wave, they would run straight to the piano and stand at that candy dish until Soror Leeke said, you can have a piece of candy. They wouldn't touch that dish until she said they could. And as they went on through school, when they graduated from high school, she watched, and she made it known, I'm watching them. I said, okay, when my son graduated from Salisbury over on the Eastern Shore. My son is an Omega. And he decided that he had to do his hop and his twirl, how Omegas do. She texted me during graduation and she said, did my child just hop across that stage? I said, yes, ma'am, he did. She said, okay. My daughter graduated. She said, now that is a proud moment for her. When my daughter came into Sigma Gamma Rho, and this time it was Mama Leeke, she said, I got her. I will make sure. I didn't question, I didn't raise an eyebrow, because the way she said, I got her, I wasn't about to question it. So then when my son pledged Omega in spring of 2015, and she says, now I can't have this child beat my other child out, so I got to get her in. My daughter came in fall of 2015, and she says, now both my children are Greek. And I said, well, Mom, no, your children, only one of your children is Greek that I know of, and that's Puff. And she said, well, they my children too, because you my child, so they my child. And I said, okay, your grands. She said, nope, we don't use that word. Nope. She just said they extended. They're extended. I said, okay, they're extended. And to this day, my daughter, she'll say, can I say Grand Soror Leeke? She says, no, you cannot. She said, okay, Soror Leeke. And she says, in private, you know what to say. I won't say what that is. So, and to Dad, you have always been such a pleasant extension. The way you've greeted my family and the way you've accepted me, I appreciate you so much. And Mike, Matt, and quiet Mark. Mark never really talked to me. Mike will talk to me. Matt will talk to me. I never got much of a conversation with Mark, but I still call him. He's still my brother. So the whole family, I thank you all for accepting me and my children. And Puff, for this, I thank you, because it has helped me. I never really realized my attachment to your family until Mom left. And I've struggled, but I know that I have the support of the family. And I've told you all before, I'm always there for you, but it seems if you all have been there more for me than I've been for you. I appreciate all of you all, and I love you to the moon and back.
Thank you, Marlene. And you've been a great support from July 9th, 2023 to now and beyond and before then. I want to ask Soror Kermit Diggs, who knew my mother in the 60s when we lived in Flint, Michigan, when my mother helped charter Gamma Psi chapter.
Sigma, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hey, Soror
how are
Diggs.
you? Thanks so much for doing this, girl. I am so pleased to see you. And I tell you, I have been listening and just enjoying everything everybody has been saying about your mom. I didn't get a chance to know her that soon. And the chapter had been chartered here in the Great Lakes Bay region by the time I came into the sisterhood. But we knew so much about Soror Leeke, and we depended on her in our beginning years, and we often called for her ideas, her leadership, her thoughts. And for a while, we kind of, lost touch with her. But in the Dallas Boulé, I got a chance to see her. And then after that, we kept in touch. And it was just always a pleasure to talk with her and to share with her and to just get that motherly wisdom, even though I had the pleasure of having legacy like you. But it's just something about her being in this area, even though my mom was in the Southwest. And with Theresa being here in the Flint area and being with us, she kind of had an idea of what it was like. And your dad was just always so supportive of everything that she was doing. And it was just great to get to know her and to be with her when I would see her at the conferences. We always had a good time to share and to talk. And I would always kind of bring her up to speed on what was happening in Gamma Psi Sigma. And it's just great to see you do this. And we just need to have more times like this about people and sorors like Theresa Leeke. Thank you so much for including me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I want to give some space to some folks outside of Sigma and extended family. Burma Hill from St. Joseph's Catholic Church and one of our Divine Nine sisters from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority.
Well, good evening, everyone. And I sit here. Now you all, Puff and John know I'm never speechless, but I am sort of speechless this evening because I'm sit here in awe, and I really shouldn't be in awe because I know what kind of lady T was, what kind of person T was. And I'm going to say what kind of person T is, because to me, she still lives in my heart. She is still my T. And I think that I don't even know how many years, but many years ago, I guess our relationship started at St. Joseph. And I have to say that T was a woman who loved the Lord. She loved her faith. And she was dead serious about being a witness for the goodness that she received, because she was such a blessing to all of us. I mean, I'm listening to you all. She was a blessing to you in your just as a sister, as
Sister that I think
and to
that's why I had to go and jump up.
and as a friend. But I would say that I'm really impressed by her sense of compassion. A few years ago, our sorority lost our national president, and we lost her very suddenly. And it was about 10 o'clock one morning when we got a letter from the vice president informing us of Cheryl's death. And I sent T an email and to tell her that. Now, she did not email me back. She called me. She called me, and just hearing her voice and acknowledging the fact, offering her sympathy, I just broke down. I mean, because I just never expected that it would just bring that type of emotion. But she talked to me, and it was almost as if I mean, it was just a revelation that the soothing voice, the calming words, the right words, and so because we always called each other our divine nine sister, and I told her she was my bestie, my best divine nine sister. But the last line in that in the commentary that you showed, Puff, earlier about her reaching out to young people, that was definitely one of her trademarks at St. Joseph's. All of those children who went through her for piano lessons and not a dime, not a penny did she do. What she said, this is my ministry. My granddaughter happened to be one of them. And so what I'm saying is her legacy will always live on. As long as they are sorors and Sigma Gamma Rho, as long as they are the young people that she trained, as long as she has friends like me, her legacy will always be one of love and service. And as I said, I just love her to death. And I speak of her in the present. I do. And so the ladies who talked about her wardrobe, well, here I am. I have one of my, since my colors are red, she did wear red once in a while, and I have on one of her red jackets. Thank you so much, Puff and John. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Burma. Thank you so much. I know some folks have to sign off, and I want to respect folks' time. I want to give my dad and my brother and my sister and my cousin Finest opportunity to chime in. If you all want to say something, somebody unmute yourself. Of course, Dr. John wants to speak.
Well, it's been hard. It's been wonderful, but it has been hard.
Mhm.
Everyone who has already spoken and other people that I've seen that are on, I've known you, and I've known how Theresa has been with you. And of course, I've been witness to all those years that Theresa was reaching out, and Theresa was supporting and encouraging and challenging, because she did all those things. She, that there are different terms that people give. They talk about people sometimes being super and superwoman. And in some ways, Theresa was a superwoman. I mean, she did so many things that there wasn't anything that I could do other than be supportive of what she was doing, because there wasn't a thing that she was doing that wasn't a right thing to do. We had a good life together, and when she passed, I said, I knew it was the time that the Lord wanted to have her come up. And I knew, as I do, I miss her. But it was time. It was time. And I'm just so pleased, so happy to hear from so many of you in terms of how she impacted your lives, how she continues to impact your lives. And Puff, as you know, I don't have words to say how proud I am and how you've been using all of your talents and skills to remember her, and remember her in such a powerful way. So again, I thank everyone, and as I say, I wasn't sure. You know, I'm never real sure sometimes how I will react, and so it catches me and it catches me off guard. I'm not a, as some of you know, I work real hard at not expressing my feelings and my emotions. So anyway, I'll just say thank you for everyone, and thanks, Puff. You've
You're welcome.
done a beautiful job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting yourself feel. Matt and Pam.
Yeah. I like to say something as well. I feel like Miss Burma Hill when you say how amazed you are, because I joined the Leeke family, around 2007 or 8 is when I met Mom. She was just such an inspiration and a friend. We bonded over our careers in education. I listened to everyone talk about her as such a mentor and an advisor. And my field was similar to that. But not only was I that, but she was that for me. And she was a friend. And as I see so many beautiful, beautiful people here on this chat, that she just, like Dad said, a superwoman. I mean, how do you know so many people? How do you affect so many people? How much love can you love? And she just shows you the more you love, the more you can love. There's, love just grows, and there's enough for us all. And she gave so much love. Of all the things that she did, I think that's the biggest thing she did, was she loved. And that's why we have to support someone who just, all she's doing is loving. And she does it through her talents. She does it through her skills. She does it through her teaching, her mentoring, her music, her family. And for me to have been so super blessed, I'm in awe. And I'm just super blessed to, she gave 4 children to this world with Dad. And I was blessed to marry one of them right here. And he's great because she's so great. And she and Dad were such great role models and such great parents that they have great children. And not just the 4 that they brought into this world, but I see so many people who say how they're parents to them, or parents to their children, or parents to whomever they meet. I mean, and then they took me in too. It's like, wow, I'm just grateful. And she's still with me. Her pictures are all around my house. I think about her, I talk to her. So yeah, she's always going to be with us all. So, let's just keep the love going. That's her legacy. And I'm sure we'll all continue that beautiful legacy that she's given to us.
I guess it's my turn. I should know better than to follow Pam. So not that I'm trying to top her, but I want to say to Sigma Gamma Rho, I have all of my life I have known Sigma Gamma Rho because of my mother. So thank you for being so wonderful and loving. It does help. Thank you to my sister and the rest of my family. And it's just hard for me to put words. I'm just thankful, just thankful. So
There it is, Matt. I think you said it. All right. Finest, did you want to say anything? I'm not sure if Finest wants to say anything. Valerie Coleman, did you want to share?
I would love to share. Thank you, Puff. I have known the Leeks since the early 70s when they moved across the street from us when we all lived in Landover. Their family became our family. I babysat all four of the kids. It's funny for me to think about that because it doesn't seem like it's now that we're all grown up that it was that much difference in our ages. But nevertheless, you all are our family. You are our family. Your mom was our piano teacher. I hated when we had to get rid of the piano when my parents moved to California. They sold the piano to my cousin. But I so enjoyed my piano lessons with your mom. Oh my goodness. All I can think of is Moonlight Sonata. That's what I think about. I know, crazy, but that's what I learned how to play. And I remember our recital, how nervous but excited I was when we had to do that. So, such wonderful memories of that and just being with you guys. Like I said, you all are family. You are our family. And I continue to pray for you all. I know it's not easy. It's hard. As you know, I've been down that road. Lost my mom, it'll be 4 years, November. My dad, a little bit longer, June of 2009. And of course, my son in 2014. It never gets easier, but it helps so much knowing that you have family and friends that love and care about you and pray for you. So I thank you for letting me be a part of your family. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. We really appreciate it. So I want to open it back up to sorors. I know Tara is here. I hope I said it right, Tara or Tara. Not sure if you wanted to say anything.
I'm not good at this.
Well, you on now, sister.
No, I've never been good with, stuff like this, but I'm just thankful for everything that she gave me. I pray for you all the time. Because I'm like, if I'm hurting this much, I can't imagine. So I'll just go back to when Garland showed me all the clothes in her trunk. I felt like I was about to break down. So, I mean, it's just her essence that I miss. I know she's with us, just as like when my grandma passed away, I know she's still with me too. So I'm gonna just say thank you to Theresa, to Soror Leeke, just for being who she was, because I don't have very many mentors in my life, and she was one of them. And nobody will replace her. But thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Soror Juanita.
Hey, I don't have much to say to such a large group, but what I will say is this. She was the first culture pearl that I met that I really felt like you said earlier, played a huge role in young sorors, new sorors, and she would just take you under her wing. And for me, that was important because I came from a chapter that was small. Probably the oldest person was spring 89. And she said she was spring 59. And I was like, 59 or what? And then we laughed about the fact that it was the real 20th century 59. And I was like, wow, who would have knew? And one of the things that I miss about who she was is her ability to, you can call her about Sigma, but she genuinely cared about you holistically. She cared about you as a person. She wasn't just there to listen to you talk. She was listening intentionally. She saw a path for you. She genuinely cared about you. And I really miss having her near. I miss being able to talk with her and just laugh with her. I mean, we were both Scorpios, we always was like, okay, November, period. And she would actually say period, and I miss her spirit. I mean, to me, she was everything. I remember when she passed, I didn't have any way to process it. I didn't want to go to the Omega Rose ceremony. I didn't even want to see it. I could not put myself in that position to see the experience because that would have made it real. So I allowed myself the space to process and deal with it on my own. But I often think about, I wish she could see this. I wish she can see how far a lot of us have come. I wish she can see the motivation. I wish she could see the passion. And I also just wish I can walk around and say, oh, there's a culture pearl that I know. So for me, um, she just played a huge role. She actually let me call her grandma because, I'm 30. So I was like, oh, can you be grandma? And she said, sure. And I said, okay. Because y'all know me, I'm going to adopt somebody and somebody go adopt me. So she was always willing to literally play the part of a true sister, So she was the epitome of what the pledge tells us to do and tells us how to show up. So um, I guess I say all that to say, I guess I had more to say, but I say all that to say she really was a part of my life that, you know, I truly miss. And I missed her presence. I miss her vibes, Also the bylaw stuff. I mean, she made me a bylaw baddie. Her and a few other sorors. I just love the bylaw stuff now. But she'd always say, don't be walking in nobody's room not knowing what you're talking about. So I miss that spirit of someone being motivating and encouraging. So um yeah, she will just always play a role in my heart. Plus, I miss her hugs. She always has such warm hugs. I even miss her two-finger taps. I got so many two-finger taps within my first 3 years, but it didn't really feel bad when she did it. So I was like, okay, if I get in trouble, I want to get in trouble under her. But I really miss her her presence, her aura, who she is, who she was. And I know you said when I asked you about I wish I would have called her before she passed. And you said to me, you can still call her. You can leave her voicemails. You can still talk to her. She's still here. So oftentimes when I'm doing things or thinking about things, I'm always I'm wondering, does she see me? Because she really saw me as a person. So that's something I miss and something I wish she could experience. But she led all of us here. I know a lot of us young um sorors, we talk about her often. You do certain things and you're like, Soror Leeke would be proud. You ain't think about nobody else. And we all know a culture pearl, but ain't nobody think about nobody else but Soror Leeke. So it feels good to know that a lot of us are paying homage to her through our efforts or through our contributions, but also through us being advocates. She was always big on, please speak up. Do not sit idle. Do not just let things happen. Be active. So I miss having that anchor. But again, like you said, when she passed, she's still with us. So yeah.
Thank you, Soror Juanita. I knew you had things to say. Soror Tiffany Hightower. I'm just calling folks' names. Soror Tiana, did you want to say anything?
Well, no, I'm so sorry. So I was trying to come off of mute. Um, I just will say this. Soror Leeke was absolutely always kind to me. She was very kind to my grandmother. I mean, my grandma came in 1965. And traveling around with her, I got to meet all of these wonderful sorors. A lot of the culture pearls I got to know. And I know when I first started running for international office, I would always reach out to Soror Leeke, always see Soror Leeke and say, what do you think? And she would say, I think you're doing well. I think you can do it. I think you, and when I've done a good job, she said, you're doing a great job. And as a young soror growing up in there, those words always resonate because you always want to make sure that you're doing right by the organization that you grew up loving. And so I just really appreciate you doing this. And I really appreciate you sharing her with us in this way. Thank you.
Thank you. Tell your grandmother, Soror Pat Daniels, that Puff said, hey.
I will definitely do that. I'm telling you, she likes
she
to do
would pull
stuff.
me up in 1984.
Oh, she was in Texas then, or she had just
she
come
was
on.
on, and yeah, she was on, and she was on the International Board of Directors when I was sitting there and would be talking.
Awesome.
She and Corrine J. Green, they would get me.
Yep. Man, Spear just celebrated her past grand Corrine J. Green in the West for their 30th anniversary.
Yes.
And I was just with Sora Blake, her daughter. All the good memories, all the good memories.
All of the good memories. Yeah. I want to open it up to anybody else that might want to share something because it's 8:44 and I said we would be from 7:22 to 8:22. Is there anybody else that wants to share? I see my soror Sandra Townsend from Beta Tau chapter.
I knew you were getting ready to call on me, Puff.
You know I was. That's what I was like. There's a list.
Yes, it is. Well, good evening to my sorors, affiliates, and to Mr. John, to Matthew, and Sister Pamela, and to the International Past Grand Basilisk Herring. So I've never met you. It's a pleasure to see you. My story is a little different with Soror Leeke. I met her through, at the time, at Morgan State University in 1985, attending Rush's Madeline Puff Leeke. And I was, at that time, it was an era of pledging and pledge lines. And Madeline, nicknamed Puff, she was my dean of pledges. And when I was it was the era of pledging. And a couple of times during my pledge process, I had to call Big Sister Theresa by order of my, I should say mandate of my dean of pledgee Puff. And I was just so nervous to give her a call. But she was very reassuring, very calming, very comforting to me as a pledgee, and just asked me how I was doing. Was I keeping up with my assignments? And I had some questions to ask her. And she answered them for me. And, you know, she was just very calming and very assuring with me. And when I went over, I had the privilege of talking with her, and she just congratulated me and welcomed me. And then I finally got a chance to meet her at a couple of Northeast regional conferences. And she was just, you know, one soror I mentioned earlier that she gave beautiful, wonderful, heartfelt hugs, and she did.
She was just a very elegant, classy looking, beautiful lady. She just from head to toe, just classy and elegant. And she was just so popular at the regional conferences. I'm talking to her and so many other people were like, hi, Soror Leeke, hi, Soror Leeke. So it was just very a beautiful woman. And at every conference, she always remembered me. And a couple of times she came to my dorm because your senior year, Puff, we shared the same dormitory, the same suite. And when she would come, she would always ask, well, where's my soror? At the time, Davenport. And then I would come out and greet her and it was just wonderful to see her. I hadn't seen her in many years, but you sent me pictures of you and your mother at the Centennial Boulé, and she did remember me, but she was a very warm spirit. And I see where you get that spirit that you have, Puff, from your mother, the legacy of S.G. Rowe. And, you carry the legacy well, and what you're doing is great and honoring your mother. And, she was just a beautiful person, and may you continue just to keep that legacy going on. And a shout out to my Beta Tau, breathtakingly Beta Tau sorors, Culture Pearl Curtis, and a Culture Pearl Sawyer. Hope you all remember me at the time. It was Davenport. Soror, we used to have our closed sessions on Sundays at your house, and I was inducted there twice, online and offline. And if there's any other Beta Tau sorors out there, I'm looking forward to the 60th celebration in November. I will be there. But, always keep your loved ones in your heart. They're always in our heart. They're always with you. Sing songs about them, remember them, talk to them, but they always keep them in your heart. And she's in Omega Rho dancing with our beautiful founders. So thank you, and everyone have a good evening.
Thank you, Sandra. We have time for one more person. Anybody else want to share? Going once, going twice. I'm pausing. All right, y'all. Thank you so much. I want to thank one of my best friends, two of my best friends that are on, Wayne P. Henry of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and Tanya Butler Truesdale of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, for being here. All the sorors, thank you for being here. Everybody that's a part of our extended family, thank you. Let's just take a moment just to send love to each other, to Theresa's spirit, and to everybody that's connected to her and to us. So taking a big breath in through the nose and then out through the mouth. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We really appreciate you being here. If you would like to honor my mother's spirit, you can do so by making a donation to Sigma Gamma Rho Spear Foundation. You can go to anandaleek.com/Theresa. If you forget all of that, just go to the website, anandaleek.com. There's a whole page that's dedicated to my mom. This video will be posted there sometime this week, and it'll be posted on her Facebook page. And then I'll post on her anniversary day, Sigmaversary, the link to the Spear Foundation. That was her, she loved everything about Sigma, and the Spear Foundation was something that she supported from day one when Soror Corinne J. Green launched it. And she gave consistently. I didn't even know for 30 years until a few days after she passed. The soror who is in charge of the foundation called me to tell me she gave consistently every single month. And that just blew me away that she did. I mean, she always talked about it, but I didn't realize, you don't realize it until you hear some of the stories. So thank you again. On July 9th of this year, we'll do something else because that's the day that she made her transition. For sorors, I found out in November while going through some of my mother's things that Hattie Mae Repford, our founder, passed on July 9th in 1990. And when I read that, that gave me a level of peace because my mom passed the day before her mother's birthday. And so when I read that, it brought me down. Like it helped my heart know that they were waiting for her. I knew that, but there was something about it because she was born 2 days before Founders Day in Indianapolis. Who does that? That's just, that's nothing but spirit and founders, hands right on it. And then she marries into a family where the person's grandmother is a soror and is a national officer, and her sister is an honorary member. Who does that? And not knowing it until she's married, So all of that, the story continues. Thank you all. Many blessings. When you see it posted, this celebration, please share it with others, and just continue to live fully and freely and tap into her spirit because she is alive and well in the spirit world. Many blessings, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Beautiful program.
Good night. Good
Good
night.
night, all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night,
Good night,
everyone.
all.